I was here. I just forgot to put myself in the stage. Let me get my hat so you don't have to look at my bald head as much. There you go. Uh, so yeah, I like to do a live stream, as most people know me. I like to do one every Saturday night here in the States, Sunday morning in the Philippines. I will be doing one again next weekend. The weekend after, I may not be. I have. I'm going to be in on the 3rd. I'll be in Terre Haute, Indiana, visiting with my family. They're having a family reunion that day, so I doubt if I'll have after I get done if I'll be able to do a live stream. I'm staying with two of my sisters, and they don't have internet connection, so my time on the internet will be limited the week I'm back home. So when I'm out and about, I can go somewhere. I use my data on my phone, but I'm not going to do a live stream with data, especially on my phone. Uh, hey Jerry, if you want, come on up. I do believe I got it fixed. Don't ask me what happened. I have no clue. Uh, so last week the earplugs wasn't working. I tried it before I came on with watching some YouTube, so I got kind of behind everything. And but it worked with YouTube, so I'm hoping it works here in StreamYard. Just enjoying a day off today. I was really lazy. I slept in, got up, did a couple of live streams. Hey Tim, welcome, sir. I didn't do them. I went and visited a couple of live streams, and then I walked down and checked my mail, and I had a package I had to pick up. So I was just being lazy today. I doubt if I'll get 2,000 steps in, which is not very good at all. But like I said, the only time I let it's 3 L's there, Tim. Oh, one eye. All right. And so I'm glad to see some people are coming in. But like I said, anybody wants to come up, the link's at the top. It's been pinned there, so anybody who wants to do it, just hit that. Come on up and we'll talk. If you want to drop your link, as everybody knows, just type in LLL. Oh, you're back home. Well, that's good. I hope you had a good time. Oh, you're going to work about 3 hours tomorrow? I have the days off. Now, I go in at 6 on the days I work, but I work 10-hour shifts. Now, next week, I'm not sure if I'm working Friday or not. I have to check with my boss. Friday's the first day of our pay week. And, but I can't remember if I took the day off or not, if I put that down as my last work day or my first day of vacation. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to Terre Haute on Friday. I'm going on Saturday. The thing that'll make a difference is if I have Friday off, I'll get all my errands done. I'll probably drive up to Batavia and spend the night up there visiting with my oldest sister and her husband and youngest son. And then she's going to ride back with me to Terre Haute. Her husband and her youngest son's planning on going as well, but they don't want to leave till about Wednesday. And my sister wants to go back and visit our cousin Sharon, which is one of my sister's best friends. And so, she's going to go back and she'll be staying with our cousin Sharon. Like I said, I'll be staying with my sisters Ruth Ann and Alta. Yeah, I can believe it, Tim. So to you, it's Saturday evening. And see, now you said Vancouver, so that would be about 5 o'clock. That'd be about 5 o'clock in Vancouver. That's what it is in California right now, 5 o'clock in the morning, or in the afternoon, I mean, excuse me. So it's not quite evening yet. Now, Jerry, he's at 7 o'clock in the evening. And I'm at 8, or a little after 8, let's be honest about it. So, it's what happens. We all try to do what we can. I just relaxed today. Like I said, I took the day off from doing anything. I used to do Saturday and do all my running. And then if I needed a day off, I'd take Sunday or Monday off. Yeah, it's only 12 here. So like I said, in Vancouver, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They're 3 hours behind us. So is California. You're the same time as California. So it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon in California. And I used to live there. Well, I lived in Washington State. And I was in a place called Pacific Beach, Washington, which was about halfway between Seattle and Portland, Oregon. Now, I was stationed in Bremerton for a short period of time as well, which is right across the sound from Seattle. So the first time I went to Canada, I went to Vancouver. I was in Bremerton, Washington. We were in dry dock, the ship I was on. Dry dock's where they take your ship and they put it on a thing in a dock, and then they pump all the water out so they can work on your hull. They worked on the screws and the engines and stuff. We were there for a few months. I got on her when she was already in dry dock. I got transferred to her. And I can't remember Burton's first name, but the guy's last name was Burton. Me, Burton, I think Green. I can't remember who the other guy was. Hey, Mengay. We all got to talking, and we decided, we weren't going to get much closer to Canada than right there across from, where we were at. So we took a bus up on a Friday night and spent the weekend up there, Friday night, Saturday night, and came back on Sunday so we could be back to work on Monday. And so that was the first time I ever went to Canada. Vancouver was a very nice city. So is Toronto. Since I've been out, I've been to Toronto and I've been to Montreal. So Canada's a nice place. Don't tell Mike married to a beautiful woman I said that. But yeah, I've been to Niagara Falls, Canada, Toronto, like I said, Montreal, and I've been to like I said, Vancouver. So he's back, Jerry. He just got back from his vacation, his Canadian vacation. So hopefully he had a great time visiting his family. I know I'm going to enjoy my time in Terre Haute visiting with my family. I'll go see my mom probably every day for a little bit. Like I've told you guys before, she's 98 years old. And I can't go anywhere until after she passes. I don't want to be that far away. Now, if I wanted to go to Mexico or Canada, yeah, that's fine. I could be home in a day, but I would go to Canada only for a visit. Now, I don't want to live in Mexico. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not a place I want to live. Like I said, I've told you all before, I want to retire to the Philippines. Yeah. Now, the people, most of us, if they don't realize where you've been, wouldn't understand that, Tim. But after being in the Philippines for however many years, the nighttime in the 50s and 60s is freezing cold to you. So, yeah, I can understand that. It's here during the summer, if it gets down to 50s, it's cold. And I know it probably gets down to 50s quite a bit in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, Washington, too, probably. I passed through there once or twice, but that's not Canada. So, like I said, I spent some time in Seattle and Tacoma both. I was TAD to Tacoma, which is right next to Seattle, folks, in case you don't know it, for about a month. Yeah, like I said, that's what 40s or upper 40s or low 50s, if I'm not sure wrong. Yeah, I believe that, Jerry. I don't see it in that one, but I do see it here. So I don't know what's going on. Huh. Something happened here. I have to. Okay. Yeah, that's what I said, Jerry. Tim, I agree with you. Like I said, if I had been in the same way, like you said, it's been a long time, and you've been back in the Philippines for quite a few years now, and you get used to that. Even 80, you get used to 80 at night, and you drop down to 50 or 40s. That's freezing cold. I remember when I first went out to California, it was during the winter, but I'm from Indiana. So what people thought cold in California, Southern California, I thought that's comfortable. At nighttime I wore if you remember the old CPO jackets, they were nothing but a heavy flannel shirt. That's all they really were. And I would wear that at night, and that was it. Now, after I was out there for a few years, when it got down to 50s, I thought it was cold too. When it got down to 50s and 40s, I was freezing. But I had to be out there for a few years before I thought that was cold. Because, like I said, the winters back home where I'm from, you get down below zero, which is minus what, 5, 10 Celsius. We get below 0 Fahrenheit. And might even be more than 10 below Celsius. So we got, we didn't get down there every day, but we were below 0 Celsius all the time. That was common, being below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 0 Celsius during the winter. And when I left Terre Haute to go into boot camp, we had almost a foot of snow on the ground. And I'm wearing this light CPO jacket. I've been wearing before. And my parents take me up to Indianapolis to the AFIS Center. The AFIS Center is the Armed Forces reporting center. All branches report to the AFIS. You're divided by what branch you're going into, and you get sworn into the branch you're going into, and they transport you off to whatever boot camp you're going to. Yeah, that's true. You also have the proper clothes. And like I said, you were more used to that weather too. So, but like I said, so I go up there and I'm just wearing this CPO jacket, and we're in Indiana. It's a foot of snow on the ground, probably somewhere around 10, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which are probably about a minus, 5 degrees, 6 degrees Celsius minus. And I get out of the car, I walk into the AFIS building, and there's a guy, matter of fact, there was a couple guys from my hometown that were going into the Navy the same day I went in. And I knew them, but they were going to Florida and I was going to California. And all the guys were looking at me like, "Are you crazy, man? It's cold out there." And I said, "Where are you going?" And none of them were going to Great Mistakes. They had it shut down. Great Mistakes is Great Lakes. There's a naval training center there too, but they had some kind of outbreak of some infection, and so they wouldn't let recruits go there until they got it cleared up. And so we were all being sent somewhere else. And I told him, well, I'm going to California. I said, I got out of a nice warm car. I walked 10 feet to get in this nice warm building. I leave here. I'm going to walk whatever number of feet, get in a nice warm vehicle and be transported to the airport. I'll get out of that nice warm vehicle there, walk into the airport, where it's nice and warm. I'll get on a nice warm airplane, and I'm flying to California. So, everybody's thinking I'm nuts. So this is what happened. Just like I said, we get to California. It's about late morning, early afternoon. I don't remember exactly when. I want to say it was late morning, because they were 3 hours. At that time, they were, I want to say 3 hours behind Indiana. I can't remember if we were changing our clocks then or not. And if not, then it was 2 hours behind us. But anyway, we get there, we come off the plane, and I open up my jacket. I'm very comfortable walking around with the jacket on. And these guys are taking their coats off because they're sweating. At night, they could wear their coat and not be too warm. But I could wear my jacket and still feel comfortable. And we didn't get our clothing from the Navy. Hey, Kenneth, the Kentucky family, how you doing, man? And we didn't get our clothing from the Navy till that Monday. I went in on a Friday. And I want to tell anybody right now that's listening, that's not got on the service and thinking about it, if you happen to be listening, don't go in on a Friday. Craziest thing I ever did was go in on a Friday. Should have went in on a Monday. The reason for that is very simple. You don't start boot camp until you're assigned your boot camp company. And they don't do that until they take you to R&O, receiving an organization. And if you're coming in on Friday, they don't do it on a Friday. So if you come in Monday, they'll either do it that Monday or they'll do it Tuesday. But your boot camp starts the day they put you in a company. So I wasted 3 days at not being in a company. So I was there a little longer than I had to be. It wasn't too bad, but there's no sense being there any longer than I had to be if I was doing it over. And all right, Jerry, thanks for coming, man. You have a good night's sleep. And I know what you mean, because you say you're getting up at 3. Well, I get up at 4 in the morning when I go to work at 6. I just rush around and I take my breakfast and I eat my breakfast at work, not at home. So if I had to eat it at home, I'd probably have to get up at 3:30. I just don't want to. I'll just take it and eat it there at work. Because usually when I get to work, when I first start, it's slow. Because I get there and the employees aren't even starting there yet. They come in after I get there. And then they don't start till an hour after I get there. So it's really slow that first hour that I'm there. Then after that, it can fluctuate. It can get really busy or it can stay real slow. Friday was a pretty slow day. Thursday was a busy day. And so like I said, that goes back and forth. But that's all right. That's what I'm paid for. I do I do the job they pay me to do. Remember now, if you're being paid to do it, it's a job. It doesn't matter whether it's hard or not. If you wouldn't do it for free, it's a job. And I'm not doing this for free. I enjoy my job. I enjoy doing what I do, but I'm not doing it for free. Never would, never will. Like I said, I'd rather be home sleeping most of the time. At that 4 o'clock in the morning when I get up, I'd rather just stay in the bed. I'd rather not get up till 6, not be at work at 6. A little after 6 o'clock this morning when I got up this morning. And that was without an alarm. That's just the time I'd much rather get up. 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. But my job says I have to be at 6. I have to get up at 4, so I have to set an alarm because I'm not getting up on my own. And I go in. Now, like I said, I've almost got my bills paid off. They'll be paid off this year. And I'll start putting money back. And even if let's say my mom died tomorrow, God forbid, I hope she lives a lot longer than that. But if she did, I still wouldn't be able to go move to the Philippines for at least a year and a half, probably 2 years, because I want so much money saved so that if something happens, I have the money to cover emergencies. I have the money if I have to come back home because, let's say, God forbid, I get over there and I decide I don't like it. I don't think it's going to happen. I've been to the Philippines. I know Filipino people. They're great people. But, I'm older now. I may get over there and decide I can't take it. It's just too different because, I got to be able to set myself up back here if that happens. And also because, all right, as a lot of you know, I'm planning on going to Cebu. But let's say I get to Cebu, and it's not that I don't like the Philippines. I don't like Cebu. Cebu's too big. Hey, we got Big Mac Daddy coming up. Hey, Mac Daddy.
Oh, you big grump. You're going to get over there and love the place. And they're going to love you. Can't take it. Did I hear that?
Well, what I'm saying is there's always I think I agree with you. I think I'm going to love it. I really do. But you got to be prepared for something, in case you're completely wrong. So, like I said, the thing I think may happen is not that I don't like the Philippines, but maybe I don't like Cebu. Maybe that's too large for me.
I think you're going to love it all, and they're going to love you back.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm going to like. Tim just said Cebu is a big city, and he's right. It is. I know when I first get there, I'm probably going to love everything about Cebu, just because it's new. That's the kind of person I am. I love to travel, and I love new things. It's like when I moved down here where I'm at. It was just, I was so fascinated by being down here because it was different. First couple of months, I was just in love. I still like the place, don't get me wrong, but not to the extent that I did when I first moved down here. I'm very comfortable down here. I could stay here as long as I had the money to live here. I could stay here because I do enjoy the area.
You're going to get them Filipino girls. You're going to be over there playing slap and tickle and pinch them on the booty. Come on, Larry.
No. Slap and tickle. I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
Oh, come on. The old dogs don't forget how to hunt. That's all I can tell you.
Well, like I said, when I first get there, I ain't hunting. This dog's not hunting. He's trying to decide where he wants to be. That's the most important thing, is decide where I want to be. I'm not planning on. That's why I don't want a long distance relationship. There's nothing wrong with that for people if that's what they want. I don't want a long distance relationship with someone I've never met. The Retroverse, how you doing, guys?
Yeah, but when you roll up in the neighborhood, now you're close distance.
Oh yeah, like I said, that's different.
And they're going to see a big sugar bear like you. Oh, stop!
This sugar bear is broke.
Well,
once he quits working, the extra money really dries up quick.
Yeah, but
that's why I got to keep working until I got the money I want.
Yeah, but obviously it's getting more expensive in the Philippines all the time. But that American money's still sugar over there.
Yeah, but like I said, we don't live like the Filipinos, most of us.
I can tell you exactly, but I can tell you this. I used to send a little bit of money to the Philippines, and now I send more and more all the time because everything is going up and up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the Retroverse says he's on his way home from Maine. Well, thank you, sir, for dropping in. But what I'm saying is, it also depends on where you live in the Philippines, how much it costs.
Well, that is very key to everything. You're exactly right there. But in the United States, it's the same way.
Now, Tim, are you trying to say they'll be on me like ugly on an 8? Tim says the ladies will be all over Larry like white on rice.
See that? They got a lot of rice. They eat rice over there for every meal.
Oh yeah, that they do. But
and Larry, you're going to enjoy it too because,
like I said,
let's face it, somebody's got to wash your back.
like I said, when I first get there, I'm not looking for. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm not looking to date. That's not what I'm looking for.
They're
I'm,
not going to look to date you. They're going to grab you and grab a hold of your hand and run and say, he's mine.
that's what they think. I'm not being tied down that early. No, no,
Tied
no,
down.
no,
They're going to tie you up.
no, 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 no. That's not going to happen. I'm not saying they won't get me tied up, but it won't be right away.
They're going to get at that little potpourri cooker and put in that massage oil, warm it up, rub you down. You'll be like, oh my goodness.
Tim says they eat rice 5 or more times a day. Yeah, they even have it for the snacks. But
Well, they got that sweet sticky rice I was watching them make with the coconut milk and the sugar and the bananas.
I had sticky rice.
What did you think of it?
I liked it. It was pretty good. I had it there at the Filipino Fest.
There you go.
Festival here in Albany. Now, I had the banana Q, which I was a little disappointed in the banana Q because it wasn't hot. I think I would have liked it better. It was okay, but I think I would have liked it better hot off the barbecue. That's why they call it banana Q. They barbecue the banana.
Yeah, well, that's a barbecued banana. I got to teach them how to make my banana cake. They'll go crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, no, I tried it. It was all right. I had lumpia, but I'll tell you that, and I've said this, and I also said it on one of my replies to some of the my festival, was my favorite thing to have was that.
Was what?
We went with the White Circle of Death for a minute. I love the festival, Tim. I wish it was 2 days instead of 1 day.
I got this.
I'm already looking forward to next year's festival. It was just a Saturday. It's all it was, 1 day festival.
I got this new spin on banana cake.
I cut out. You stayed fine. No, maybe you're frozen. But yeah, you're frozen on my
I'm frozen
screen there, Big Back Daddy. But
now
you're back. Now you're back.
It's going to say I got this new spin I put on banana cake. I make it with rice and bananas.
Can't hear you. You're frozen up again there, Back Daddy.
Oh, this is no fun. How about now?
Well, I can hear you, but your picture's all blurry.
Oh.
We can't see it. Now I can see it. I don't know if it's probably my end because, like I said, even I had the circle of death a couple times.
Well, I got this crazy internet on the mountain I'm on, too. It always goes in and out. And we just had some rain.
I don't know what I'm having for my birthday this year. Rachel's birthday is in August. If I remember seeing this right. Let's see. It must have been July because he said for his birthday he had fried chicken. So he said, I just had my 26th birthday party. And what day was that, Retro? By the way, happy 26. I remember that quite well. I was still in the Navy when I was 26.
I got to drop down and go break up a cat fight. I'll be back.
All right, I'll be here.
The cats out front are having a war.
All right. We'll catch you when you get back. But, yeah. Oh, wow. So you just had it today. Now, Retro, my oldest nephew, birthday is also July 20th. Now, this is how much older that he is than you, though. All right. He's what, 53? He's old enough to be your daddy. Now, his oldest son's only 21 or 22. He waited till after he graduated law school. Now, my oldest nephew was born the day they landed on the moon. I believe that was a Sunday that year, July 20th, 1969. You were thinking about joining the Air, so you hadn't joined yet, then, Tim. All right, like I said, I already had almost 7 years in. I had over 6 years in when a little over six at that time, about 6.5 years when I hit 26. I turned 26 in Pacific Beach, Washington, and then I turned 27 in Pacific Beach, Washington, and then I got out of the service about a month after I turned 27. And actually, it was exactly 1 month after I turned 27. So I did over 7 years, over 7.5 years, almost. What was it? Actual service 7 years and almost 10 months. What is it? Oh, I'm trying. Hang on. 6 years and almost 10 months total. And but yeah, I went in. I was about 18 and a half when I went in the Navy. And you're all right, Retro. Your dad was Air Force. Now, when I was younger, and I'm talking about teens and preteens, I always wanted to go into service. I cannot remember a time I didn't want to go in. But what branch I wanted to go in changed all the time. I see a movie that I really liked about one of the branches of the service, and I wanted to go in that branch. And yeah, maple syrup. Oh man, real maple syrup compared to the fake stuff is so much better. I don't know if you've seen the video I did on the Cartwright Maple Tree Inn. I think that was a little over a year ago. And anyway, when I went, I did a video on it. It was over a year ago, almost a year and a half now. I went towards the end of the season, and they sell buckwheat pancakes, and all you can eat buckwheat pancakes for a set price. And you can get a couple sides, like I got sausage and ham with it, and coffee, so it costs a little bit more, but it was still all the pancakes I wanted to eat with all the real maple syrup you want to use, butter. Oh, it was so good. I was sad that when I was there, they weren't actually doing the making the maple syrup. I would have liked to got a video of that, but I did get a video of what they use, the old stuff and the newer stuff. But like I said, I've been to that place I used to live up in Batavia, Rochester, Leroy area, and that's only about an hour or so from where I lived. And I would go, my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, and a friend of theirs. We'd go down. Not all of us, but every year, a group of us would go down at least once to get the maple, the maple syrup and the pancakes. And as a matter of fact, it was a son of my brother-in-law's best friend. It was his son. He'd go a lot, and he'd go as many times as he could get down there. He loved it. I'd go once or twice, and that'd be about it. But I always went with my brother-in-law. My sister, if she was going, sometimes she wouldn't go. First time I went, we went with a church group. First couple of times, and but yeah, it was great. It was a great place to go. Enjoy it. I've been down there watching them make the syrup, but this time, like I said, they weren't making it. I think they only make it on Fridays. And I was there on a Sunday. I want to say it might have been a Saturday. I want to say Sunday. Because I had to work Fridays, so I had to go down to and they're not open on Mondays. So I go down during the winter, when you gotta take that. I wanted to go down earlier than I went, but every time I wanted to go down, it was snow and bad weather and couldn't do it. I said, it's one thing when you live close to there, you just boom. Yeah, now you got the Canadian maple syrup, and they probably had a good crop. New York this year didn't get as cold as they should, but they still got some. And as you know, it takes the cold weather at night and the warmer weather during the day to get that sap running. So if you have a real good cold spell where it gets real cold and then starts warming up around, January, February, somewhere there, and you get cold at night and it warms up during the day, you can get some really good maple syrup production. And for those who've never had real maple syrup, it is delicious. Just like real honey. I don't know if they can fake honey or not, but real honey is really good. Real honey will never go bad on you. Now, you may have to warm it up. It will kind of make a clump. But you put it in the hot water and let it set. That will break the honey back down into regular honey, and you can still use it. Yeah, like I was saying, cold nights and warm days are good for syrup. And so it really is. That's one of the reasons why the Northeast and Canada is really good for maple syrup, because you get those cold nights and warm days. Now they do have some people that do it in the Midwest too, but they're nowhere near the production or the quantity. I won't say quality. I'll say the quantity of what they get here in New York, Vermont, Canada. It just because I don't think they have enough cold nights and warm days during the production season to do it justice. Yeah, that sounds pretty good there, Retro. Blueberry syrup. Hey, Mike, you're tell Tim welcome back. He just got back from Canada. He was over in Vancouver, the other side of Canada. He said he brought back some good Canadian maple syrup with him. He said he brought back a liter of it. So he purchased it. He spent some money on it, but that's all right. The liter of syrup is going to cost you a pretty penny. No, I doubt if you see it because, like I said, he's on the other side of the country. You're on the eastern side, and he's clear over on the western side. I believe it. Like I said, they say honey will not go bad. You just have to warm it up, and it'll decoagulate and go back to being edible honey. And now, I don't know if you know this. You probably do, but one of the first alcohols was made from honey. They say that actually occurred naturally in nature. Honey would get trapped in something, and some yeast or something, some yeast would get added to it in water, and would turn it into mead. That's what mead was made from. And so your sister likes to live in the country, huh? I'm not much of a country boy. I'm a city boy, but big cities are different. I like small cities or big towns. My hometown's only 70,000 people. And when I was growing up, it was probably around 80. No more than 100. I know that. I don't think it ever got to 100. It's probably around 80. But now it's only about 70 because a lot of businesses have left. But that's the size city I like. Say 100 to a couple million. That's fine. At least that's what it used to be. Now where I live now, I'm right outside the city. I live in a place called Waterville, which is part of the Capital District of New York, which is Albany. Yeah, meat is made from honey. And so, like I said, I would always go there when I need something, but there's enough around me that I don't really have to go to the city that much. But there's quite a few big towns around here. And so, like, if I want to go to a mall, there's a good one in Colony, real nice size one. I can also go to a couple other towns around that have nice size malls. But now Waterville doesn't. It's a smaller community. If Waterville was farther out, I don't know if I'd like Waterville that much because there really isn't a whole lot in Waterville itself to suit me. There is no mall. They do have a nice community swimming pool. I don't go there because we have a swimming pool here on property, so I don't need to go there. I drive by it. They got some restaurants that are decent. I believe it, Tim. You got jet lag. It'll be a while before you get over it. I'm sorry to hear about the major fires there, Mike. Yeah, like I said, that's one thing about Canada, the United States. Uh, you may be 20, 30 miles from your city, but it doesn't take you long to get there. You can be 10 miles and you're there in 10 minutes a lot of times. Depends on the roads that you got to travel. I'm sorry to hear that, Tim, that your girlfriend's sick. Hopefully she gets better soon. But so, like I said, it's a whole different ball game here in the States because of the way we drive much faster here in the States than you do in the Philippines. You can just about double or triple the speeds here in the States compared to the Philippines. Give me a moment, folks. Sorry about that. I had to cough. But well, now, Mike, I used to sleep on planes, but now that I have sleep apnea, now I did not get jet lag going over to the Philippines, not the Philippines, going over to China when I went to China back in '99. But I did get sleep. I did get jet lag coming back, but part of that's because of my sleep apnea. At that time, I didn't have the machine. It was just before I got the machine to treat my sleep apnea. So the lack of sleep just really, really took me forever to recoup. I got back at end of August, and I never really got over it until I got the machine in January. So, because like I said, with sleep apnea, if I'm in bed for 10 hours, I get maybe 2 hours of what most people would consider good rest. And it would take me 10 hours or more to get that 2 hours. So you're already behind the 8 ball. Then you get the jet lag, which even puts you farther behind the 8 ball. So yeah, it took me a long time to get over it. Well, yeah, Tim, I can understand that. That's one of the reasons why I want to look into. I may pay more money when I fly over for my plane, if I can get a plane that will let me use my machine. I don't know if I can, and I don't know if I can afford to pay that price if I did. I just know that once I get there, by having the machine, I'll recuperate a lot faster than I would without it. But if I could use the machine on the plane, that would help cut down on the jet lag. I can sleep probably setting up. I just don't get quite as good a rest as I do if I use the machine. Yeah, 16 hours difference. You're used to what, 12 hours, right? Another 4 hours makes a big difference. I know that. like I said, with me, it's I have the my work schedule. Getting up at 4 is a whole lot harder for me than getting up at 6. I will eventually probably get used to it, but it's going to take me a while because I got up at 6 or 5 for years, and now I got to do it at 4. That's what I said. I don't know if it can or not. I'll check into it before I go over. If I can, I got to look at how much it would cost. I know I can carry it on the plane because it's medical equipment. They'll have to let them check it out. But I mean, I know I can carry it. I just don't know if I can use it. But that's fine if I can't use it. As long as they let me carry it on. And it didn't count as carry on either, by the way, from what I hear. It's medical equipment that I need. So I'll be able to take it. I'll have to get something that I can use in the Philippines, what they call it, a power converter. I can still use it. Now later on, I have to buy a different one. Mike, I don't get up at 6. I start at 6. No. I wish I got up at 6. Yeah, I'll probably have to take business class, but even then, I don't know if I can use it. I flew back from China in business class, and it was a lot more comfortable than flying coach. Now, I was able to sleep because I was setting up, but you don't get as much rest. And then, like I said, this is before I got my CPAP. I've noticed I can sleep setting up, and it's better than laying down without the CPAP to sleep setting up. I found that out by mistake. But it does give you a little bit better sleep. You're still going to snore. You still don't get the complete rest you do with the machine. Or if you don't have sleep apnea, you don't get that kind of rest, but you do get better rest. I discovered that. I went to do a favor for a friend. This is when I was living in Leroy. I drove down here to Albany area, and I was doing the favor for a friend, and my car broke down. Now, it happened to break down. It was nobody's fault. But I had to spend the night, and I didn't have my CPAP because all I was going to do was drive down, do the favor, turn around, drive back up to where I lived. So I didn't have my machine with me. And I couldn't sleep. I was in a hotel room. I could not sleep. And they had these wedge pillows. And I finally said, well, I'll just lay back and sit on this and try to be comfortable. And I went to sleep. Now, I woke up the next day. I felt okay as well as I would if I had the machine, but a lot better. I was able to get some sleep and get some rest. And that's how I found out that, if you can find it, get comfortable setting up where you can go to sleep, you're a lot better off. Like I said, though, Tim, it'll be a couple of years, at least a year and a half. I'm just in the process of renewing my guard card. I got to take another training class probably sometime in August or September. And then that'll be good for 2 more years. Now, my license didn't expire in November. But like I said, I want to work till I have at least a year's worth of savings put aside. And then maybe I'll bounce at that time if everything works out. If not, I'll work 2 years and bounce. Like I said, I can't leave until my mom passes. I don't want to sound cruel, by talking about it, but it's just that simple. I'm not going anywhere as long as my mom's still alive. I don't want to be that far away where I can't get back. I can be home in 1 day driving. And that's a little farther than I like, but it's a little too late to try to move back closer. It's not feasible. It's not practical. And so I just stay where I'm at. All right, Tim. But so we'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah. But it's just something I have to do. I mean, some people can go that far away. Now, my sisters all know I'm going. I'm not going to stick around for my sisters, even though they're all older than me. But I will for my mother. I would have for my father, but my father passed away a long time ago. But I wouldn't have done it for. I love my brothers and my sister. My brothers were both gone, but I wouldn't have stuck around for my brothers either unless they were on deathbed. Which my older brother, I knew when he was dying that he was dying. I knew when my younger brother was dying. They both had cancer, different types of cancer. Neither one related. My older brother never smoked. What they call germ cancer at the time. I think they still call it that. And the reason for that is they're not sure, but they think a germ causes it. Curable, but usually deadly because it causes no pain. They said when they told us that he had cancer, they had at the most 6 months. They could have said 6 days and it would have been closer. It was only a couple of weeks, so what even 6 weeks after we found out. All right, Mike, you take care. Tell your wife hello from the chat. Asiwa? Is that how you pronounce it? Asiwa? But I don't know how much longer I'm going to go. We don't have too many people here. I wish we had more. We got quite a few thumbs up, so maybe some people just dropped in or in the background listening, or dropped in and dropped back out. That happens too. But see, I've got 26 thumbs up, but it only shows 5 people. And thank you, Mike. You take care of yourself. Try to have fun, man. So anyway, like I said, yeah, we lost Jerry. We lost Mike. Tim's dropped out. We'll be back. Now, Jerry, I don't expect back because he's going to bed because he's got to get up and go to work. Danny left him, but he said he's coming back. So we'll see. Yeah, Mike, I would much rather get up later. But 6 o'clock, I because of my time in the Navy and stuff like that, 6 a.m. is not that bad because that's about the time we got up in the Navy. It was not a time I like, but it's a time I can handle fairly easy. So, but I've worked 2 to 10, 10 to 6, 6 to 2. That's 2 to 10 in the evening, 10 to 6 in the morning, and 6 to 2 in the morning afternoon. I've worked almost every shift there is. That doesn't mean I like them. It's just I've done them. And no, they wasn't all a security guard. Some of these were factory work. I worked one job. I had a factory that I worked at. I'd go in on a Wednesday at 7 in the morning, work till 3 o'clock till the following Tuesday at 3, get off Tuesday at 3, and would not go back into work till Thursday at 3, work 3 to 11 till the following Wednesday at 11. Then I'd be off from Wednesday at 11 till Friday at 11. Going Friday night at 11 and work till the following Friday morning, and I wouldn't go back into work again till the following Wednesday. I worked 7 days in a row, off 2, worked 7 days in a row, and off 120. Well, was that 7 days in a row, off 48 hours, 7 days in a row, off 48 hours, 7 days in a row, off 120 hours. And I did that for a while. It paid good. It really did. It was good pay. But man, that takes something out of you because, of course, I was a much younger man. I was in my 20s still. And it was shortly after I got out of the Navy. And so it was a lot easier to handle when you're younger. But it was tough, though. Now, when I was in college at one time, I was working all 3 shifts every week. I would work. Sister Winnie, hello, how you doing? I don't know you, but we'll give you a monitor. Now, Sister Winnie, if you just type in LLL, my Nightbot will drop your channel. I see you're a YouTuber, so just go ahead and do that if you want. You got a monitor thing. But like I said, I was working 3 to 11. Friday was 2 to 10. Saturday, 3 to 11. Sunday night, 11 to 7 o'clock Monday morning. Then Wednesday and Thursday was 5:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon. And I did that every week for almost 5 years. That was tough. And I had to do that because I was the youngest person as far as employment. I was the youngest one there. Everybody had more seniority than I did. Until a guy finally retired, and then I was able to change to, they let me take day shift. And but that was tough. When I worked 7 to 5, 4 days a week, that's 10 hours a day. I worked 2 12s and 2 8s more than a couple times. And so, yeah, I've worked a lot of different kind of shifts over the years. I like the 4-10s, but I would prefer to be like the 7 to 5 or 8 to 6. The 6 to 4, it's taking some out of me. I'll eventually get used to it. But some of that has to do with my age. I'm not a young man anymore. Definitely not in my prime. But well, I'm going to have to get some more sun on that face. Well, you can tell where that chin whiskers used to be. At least I can. But so, yeah, if you look at my picture up here, you see I got chin whiskers. They're snow white. If I grow my beard, I'll look like Santa Claus. So, yeah, I had to go Tim because he said his phone needed charging. I got mine on the charger because it was down to like 17%. A little before we started the live stream, I had to put it on the charger to get it charged up. But so I use that to give the monitors to people to pin the message at top, and so that's why I had to have the phone on. And then I got my other phone on just to give myself another viewer. Because I have a Ninja channel. And which you all know, my Ninja channel really doesn't have any real. I'll just say hello to everyone. That's my Ninja channel right there. But so like I said, it adds to it a little bit. So yeah, we want to welcome Sister Winnie. Like I said, I gave her a monitor. I don't like I said, if she wants to advertise her channel, which I don't know if she's got a channel because I think she does. Yeah, she's got a channel. All she has to do is type in LLL. Well, I'll show you guys. Don't join my channel. I still need to join this one. But let's see if the Nightbot's working. It should be. Come on, Nightbot. There you go. It'll pop up here in a minute, folks. There it goes. That's all you got to do. 3 L's. You can do it small L's, capital L's, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just type in 3 L's, hit enter, and it'll put your information up there for everybody. If you want to come up and talk, the link is above at the top of the chat. You can just go there and hit the link and come on up and talk. So you're more than welcome to come up and introduce yourselves if you want. Uh, there we go. That's better. So, yeah, I try to keep this going. We've been going for over an hour. I don't know how much longer we're going to go. Seems like it's a slow night, which is fine. Now, Winnie, how did you hear? If you don't mind my asking, how did you hear about me? Because this is the first time I've seen you. So I don't mind you coming in. Like I said, I gave you a monitor. That's fine with me. I just wondered, how did you find me? Did you find me because you're looking for a live stream, or do you follow somebody that mentioned me, or you just saw my name somewhere and thought, hey, Lazy Larry Lee sounds like a cool name? I've been told there's some people tell me they really like my name. Yeah, it must have went into extra innings, buddy. And he does. He has cats, so hopefully he didn't slip and get hurt. We'll wait on him. He's been gone for a little while. I thought he'd be back by now. Just turn the hose on those cats. That'll do it. Yeah, extra rounds. Yeah, I said innings. Comparing it to baseball. But it's a fight, so you're right. Extra rounds. The championship fight is 15 rounds, like the old style. Not 12 anymore. But, we had Retro was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here or if he dropped out. He celebrated his 26th birthday today. Like I told him, today's also my oldest nephew's birthday. So he shares it. Now his birthday happens to be the anniversary of the moon landing. The moon landing was July 20th, 1969. And my oldest sister said she believes that was a Sunday because that's the day she had her oldest son. He was born on the day they landed on the moon. So, like I said, that was about 53 years ago. No, it was more than that. Shoot, 53 is my younger nephew. He's 55. So the younger nephew's 52. Man, I lose track of time. Oh, wow. Yeah, like I said, my oldest nephew's 55 years old now. Man. Whew, I lost track of time. I should have gave him a call. He lives down in Florida right now. And I also have cousins down there besides nephew and his family. But matter of fact, my cousin Paula and her husband Tom, I don't know about their daughter Sarah, but I know they're planning on being home for the reunion in Terre Haute as well. I haven't seen them in years, so it'd be nice to see them. So it'll be interesting when I go home to see the family. Like I said, some of these people I haven't seen in years, and some of them live in Terre Haute. I just don't see them because they don't get together very often. My cousin LaDonna, I think she's still in Terre Haute. My cousin Kathy, I just saw her last year at my cousin George's party. First time I've seen her in I don't know how many years. Her son. And so that side of my mom's family doesn't get together that much. That's her mother's side, my mom's mother's side. The family, they don't get together as much. And actually, my grandfather, her dad's family, doesn't get together as much. Now, the immediate family, and I'm talking about my mom's sister's kids and us, we get together all the time. But our cousins, outside of that group, the small niche group, which is my cousin George, and Paula's been gone for a while, but she used to get together with us too. And George, his family, and my family, we always got together all the time. I see George every time I go home. George and I are great friends. We have been since, we're 11 days apart. We have been since we were babies. We've always been great friends. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have a sad time going home this time because one of my other great friends back home has passed away this last month. So I'm going to miss not being able to see him. I always went home and saw him too. So I'll get a hold of his wife and talk to her, to, see how she's doing. So yeah, it's going to be a joyous, sad occasion. Joyous to see all the family that I haven't seen in a long time. It's sad because I'm not going to be able to see one of my friends. And I'm going to stop my camera for a moment, but I'm going to keep talking. I happen to, my nose is plugging up on me. You can probably hear. So that's why I said I may have to drop out because of that. I'm trying to think the last time I saw my cousin Paula. See, they moved out. They moved up to they went in the Air Force. Tim, her husband Tom is a oral surgeon. Now, when he went in the Air Force, he was a dentist, and this is back in the 1980s, I want to say, and it's a joint decision when you're married. You know that. Because if you don't take your spouse into consideration, if you're thinking about joining the military, you could very well end up divorced here in the States. So they talked it over, decided, hey, look, we'll go in and we'll see how we like it. And they did about 10 years or more. And while he was in, the Air Force sent him to IUPUI Medical, which is in Indianapolis, for 2 years to become an oral surgeon. We had to guarantee so many years after that. So that's what he did. And he was debating on whether or not he made, I think, major. I don't think he made colonel. I think he was a major. And he had to decide whether or not he wanted to stay in, or he was getting to that point where either stay in and go for a career or you get out. And he sent out a feeler or something. And he got offered the head of the oral surgery at one of the hospitals in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne's got like 2 or 3 hospitals. Fort Wayne's, I think, has 3. Terre Haute has 2, but I think Fort Wayne has 3 because it's a lot bigger than Terre Haute. And he was the head of the oral surgery department. And he did that until he retired in his early 60s. And so after that, they moved down to Florida. So they've been living down in Florida for, oh my goodness. I'm trying to think about 8 years, around 8 years, maybe a little longer, somewhere around 8. And 7, 8 years, somewhere in there. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Tim, when did you go in? Do you remember? But I know you remember. I wondered what year. My like I said, my cousin's husband Tom. I'll just call him Tom. My cousin Tom. I think it was before he went to oral surgery school. It might have been after, but he was part of the MASH unit for the Air Force. And this is before Desert Storm, or I want to say it was before Desert Storm, or the other, whichever one that was the first conflict over in Iraq, where they sent troops and stuff. That's close to the time he went in. But like I said, he wasn't a surgeon then. He was just a regular dentist. But it was around 1987, 1990 something, somewhere in there. Trying to think. I want to say it was closer to 1990. when he went in. And but just before that happened, he because that's a volunteer unit, as you probably know. He decided not to volunteer. He decided to get out of it. And then a couple of months after he got out, Desert Storm was, like I said, it might have been Desert Storm. Was there, what was after that? Could have been the one after. It was either Desert Storm or if there was one after, then it might have been the one after. But anyway, he got out of it and decided not to do it. And then a few months later, that part broke out. The MASH unit was sent over there. So, he felt like he got lucky because he had decided to get out of it because it was, they spend a lot more time away from home by being in it because, he had to go out and practice and do all that stuff. And he decided the extra money, I think there was extra money in it. He just decided it wasn't worth it. So, but yeah, I think that was around the same time they adopted their daughter. And but yeah, like I said, at that time he was still just a dentist. Whenever that was going on, became a surgeon later. He went to. So it might have been Operation Enduring Freedom. Tim, it might have been that one because 1990, right around the time he went in. So he might not have been in yet. It was right around that time frame. And it was right about that time. So I don't, and at that when he first went in, he was in Minot, North Dakota, I believe. And then after he re-upped, they went to somewhere in Spain. They were over there, and then after Spain, he went to the oral surgery school, I believe. So I think it's when he was in Spain, he was in the MASH unit, I think. And then he ended up down in Texas, when he was an oral surgeon. He was down in San Antonio area. There's a bunch of Air Force bases down there. That's where he was at when he got out. So, now me, I did over 6 years in the Navy. I was on 3 different ships. I enjoyed my first ship the most. And my third ship, probably the least. Only because it was a rough rider. It was rough. Oh my goodness, was it rough. It was an LST, they're flat bottom, they run themselves around intentionally. And because they're flat bottom, they're always moving. You can be tied up to a pier and you're going to be rocking or rolling. Moves tied up to the pier. It never sits still. If there's any movement on the ocean at all, you feel it on the LST. I don't think it was Air Base. I could be wrong, but so they were in Spain somewhere. Now, my cousin George, her brother, he was in the Army, and he was in Baumholder, Germany. I remember right, it was Baumholder. He was Armor Division. Like I said, my cousin George was Army. I was Navy. My cousin Tom was Air Force. And my best friend Dave, the one that just passed away, he was a Marine. Now, Dave, George, and myself were all in at about the same time. We all got out within a couple of months of each other. Tom went in after we got out. Now, because of if Tom went in as anything but a medical, like a doctor or a dentist, at his age, he would have never been an officer. He was above the age they like to make people officers. So he was somewhere around 30 or so. But because he was a dentist, if they wanted him to work as a dentist, they had to make him an officer. So he was an officer because of that. Like I said, his age, if he was like in supply, he'd have been enlisted. Have been, no, you're too old to be an officer. He might have been enrolled. I'm not really sure. where he was. I just know it was in Spain. I know they were around. I want to say they were around Barcelona somewhere. I know they visited Barcelona, but I couldn't tell you. Uh, yeah, Rhoda. That would have been Navy. He would have had to be an air base. So maybe it was Monroe. I just don't know. Like I said, that was their career, not mine. And he went in after he went in after I got out, and I never met Tom until after I got out of the service because him and Paula were not married yet. So I know they got married in the 80s somewhere. And I got out in 78. And I met Tom before they got married because they were both living in Terre Haute. George and Paula's family had moved back from Iowa. They used to live in Iowa. They moved back to Indiana in the 70s after I went into service. And so, like I said, after I went in 72, I want to say George and Dave both went in around 74. It could have been, like I said, I really don't know. But I would think being it was Air Force, you'd be at an air base, not a Navy station. But, you never know on some of these bases. Marines and sailors are stationed together all the time, but they're part of each other, just like Air Force and Army probably serve together a lot. But maybe not, because they are totally separate now. But I know they got to travel around Europe quite a bit. My George and Paula's mom and dad went over while they were in Spain and visited, and they traveled some around Europe as well. George traveled all over Europe. Took a lot of his vacation instead of going back to the States. He traveled around. He went to Amsterdam, France, England, all over Europe. Me, I was stationed in San Diego, California, and then I was also, like I said, Bremerton, Washington, and Pacific Beach, Washington. So I traveled around the U.S. Now, when I was overseas, I had been to the Philippines a couple times. I've been to Japan a couple times, Taiwan a couple times, Hong Kong a couple different times. And I know it's part of Japan, but I consider Okinawa a little separate because we didn't call it Japan, we called it Okinawa, which is the island. So I went to Okinawa as well. Now, when I was in Japan, when I considered Japan, I was always in Yokosuka, which is a naval base there. I was stationed. I was there. I had been in Yokosuka for about, between the two times I was there, probably 5 months or more. In the Philippines, over 3 months. Taiwan, about 3 or 4 months. Hong Kong, a little over about 2 weeks. Okinawa, 1 week. Total, and then there's a lot of time out at sea. I made 2 Westpacks. That's what we call the Western Pacific, which is the Asian countries. We call them Westpacks. I made 2. All right, Chip. So you are a driver. So you had a cat for a mascot. All right. Well, the Navy's got a goat. I don't know if any other bases have it besides Annapolis, the military school, but they have a goat, and the Army has a bulldog. And so, but so that a veterinarian on the base in Rhode Island, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about having veterinarians. Now, when I was in Subic Bay in the Philippines, we had a stable that we could go rent horses is to go riding on base, which I did I turned 21 in the Philippines. I don't know if I told you guys this or not. And turning 21 in the Philippines meant nothing. You go in the bar, but long before you go in the bar, 18 or 17 in the Navy, in the Philippines, and get a beer or a rum and coke, whatever, off base. They never carded you. If they did, they saw the military ID and you got what you wanted anyway. So I don't know what the drinking age is in the Philippines. I really don't, because it never affected me. So, turning 21 in the Philippines, they didn't care. You weren't getting a free drink or anything. Now, if I turned 21 in the States, I could have went bar hopping and never paid for a drink. Every bar would have bought me one drink at least. And then, you could go to different bars and your buddies would buy you a drink because you just turned 21. Well, like I said, I turned 21 in the Philippines. So I'd been going to bars every day before I turned 21, so I had to do something different. Now, my birthday happened to be on the weekend. I don't remember which day. The only reason I know it was a weekend because of what I did. Me and a bunch of my friends, Marv Jurgens, Rat, that was Richard, I'm trying to think of his name. Brewster, I want to say Brewster. Then there was Rusty. Was there anybody else? We all went horseback riding. And we did that to celebrate my 21st birthday because I wanted to do something that I don't normally do. So we went to the stables, rented the horses, and went riding the trails. And did that for that day. Then that night I went to the bar on base and had a T-bone steak dinner. So that's what I did for my 21st birthday. Then I went out in town and did what I normally do. Got drunk and saw my girlfriend. But, so that was my 21st birthday. Now, we also had an island off the base. Me and Chris Steffens. I almost forgot Chris Steffens. He was one of them that went with me. Chris was one of my big time running mates. Him and Marv, my two running mates. But me and Chris, we on Saturdays, if we both had it off, because he didn't get it as many Saturdays off as I did, we would go out on this base and we could island off the base. You had to be on the base to get to it. Civilians couldn't go to it. It was strictly a Navy island base for go out and go swimming and stuff like that. You could take a boat out there. We took the boat out to it. And we'd go out and I learned that Chris is the one that taught me how to skin dive or snorkel, whatever you want to call it. And we'd go snorkeling almost every Saturday that we were both off. For something to do besides go, because you got Saturday off is during the daytime. Do you really want to go to the bar at 10 o'clock in the morning? So we'd go snorkeling and spend a few hours out on the island swimming and stuff. And now, the one Saturday I had to work, Marv was off and Chris was off. Marv tried to learn how to snorkel, and he almost drowned himself because he didn't clear the snorkel right, and he came up for air. And he wouldn't go again. So Chris asked me if I was willing to go, so I started going, and I enjoyed it. It was great. And so I learned how to snorkel. That's something I want to get back into when I go back to the Philippines. I've tried it here in the States, but lake snorkeling is nothing. The water in these big lakes, they're cold. They're not much fun to dive in. And then if you go in the smaller lakes, like I'm from the Midwest, there's really nothing to see, So I like I said, I did do it. I had my equipment in Indiana, but it just wasn't much fun. And you got to have somebody to go diving with. I would never dive by myself. It's just not a smart thing to do, whether you're lake diving, river diving, or ocean diving. You want somebody with you. for safety. I mean, because if you run into trouble, you got to have somebody to help you, or you could drown fairly easy. So uh, that's something I want to get back into. Like I said, the ocean in the Philippines is nice and warm compared to a lot of other places. There's a lot to see. There really is. You got the coral, you got the different fishes, the sea turtles. There's all kinds of things that you can just swim around and look at. You just, and if you're in the right area, you can just swim. Hey, Tox, how you doing? Welcome. So you can just swim around and enjoy the view if you're in clear water. And so, yeah, I really like snorkeling. It's, like I said, something I want to get back into. We're glad to have you, Tox. I don't know how. I'm glad you showed up. I'm not sure how long I'm going to go. I've been going for almost an hour and a half. I had somebody up here with me earlier, but he had to go break up a cat fight. He had some cats out in the front yard fighting, and he hadn't made it back yet. And we had a few other people, but we appreciate that, Tox. Do you know a Sister Winnie? We had a Sister Winnie that was here earlier. She just said hi. Uber Butler, hello, how you doing? And just gave you a monitor, but Mr. Butler, you look cold. I'll give you a blue jacket. With my live stream, if you want your channel advertised, just type in LLL, and my bot will drop it for you. It's very easy. I had 3 cups, and this is a little late at night now for coffee. Let's see, I don't know. There's my coffee machine right there. So it's right here with me. All right, sir, we appreciate it. I'm a very small time vlogger. I got barely over 860 followers. So, yeah, 3 cups of coffee. I was light today. I only drink 12-ounce cups. On the days I work, I drink 16-ounce cups. Here's my cup. This is what I drink coffee out of. It's set up for me to make my. It's set up so I can make my first cup in the morning. This machine only makes 1 cup at a time. The current machine. That's fine. Now the machine I have at work, I make a whole pot at a time. 1 pot, and that's all I drink. Almost a full pot, not quite. So now I don't know Uber Butler if you know Tosh Vlog. She's got a great vlog. If you haven't joined her, you ought to. So come on, Tox. Type in 3 L's. Was I frozen? I'm sorry. Was you able to hear me? Tim, could you hear me? Or was I just talking to myself for a little while? But, yeah. I've been having a little trouble with it. There you go, Tim. Let them know who you are. There you go. That's all it takes. 3 L's. Anybody wants to get their information out there, that's all you got to do. We don't mind letting you do that. Well, everybody can do it. That's good. I don't mind if you can hear me. Then at least I'm not talking to myself. Remember last week I was having trouble, and for some reason my earplugs weren't working. I've never tried sloppy double dare, super sloppy double dare. I've never watched that, but I am fond of YouTube. I follow Tox, Tim, Mike, that was here earlier, Jerry. I happen to follow all of them. I don't follow everybody that follows me, but I follow quite a few people. And so I just try to do what I can, try to have fun. That's I'm a firm believer in that. I think you need to be kind to each other. You don't have to like each other, but you need to be kind. I'm a firm believer in that because not everybody's going to agree with you. You're not going to agree with everybody. But I do believe in civility. You should treat each other with respect. As long as you do that, you're more than welcome in my channel. If you want to come up and talk, the link's at the top of the page. Click on it and come on up and talk. I'll let you introduce yourself. I'm looking forward to them, Tim. I'm looking forward to your videos. I'll get a few while I'm back home. I don't know how many I'll do. I doubt if I do any cover bridges this year. I did quite a few last year. I don't know if I should do that every time I go home. I don't think so. Even though there's quite a few cover bridges I didn't go look at. Park County has a lot of cover bridges, man. Let me tell you. But and I'm going too early for the color. Everything's going to be green. Either that or brown if it's doesn't get enough rain. But but I'm mainly going home to visit family, so I'll do a couple videos, but won't do too many. I'll have to try to get up a couple this week as well. I am doing a live stream again next Saturday. Like I said, there's a good chance on the 3rd I won't do one because I'll be spending the day in the afternoon with the family, and I probably won't feel like doing a live stream after I get done. And plus, like I said, my sisters that I'm staying with my sister Ruth Ann and Alta, my two sisters. They don't have internet. So I'd have to go somewhere else to do a live stream. So I probably just won't do one. Now, last year when I was home, I went and rented a hotel room just to do a live stream. I could do that again this year, but I don't think I will. Unless I get bored. But we won't get together till the afternoon probably and go till the evening. It all depends on what the family wants to do. Like I said, plus I'm going to be visiting my mom. There is a video that shows my mother, the love of my life. So, we'll see. Yes, I do live a long way from my mother, but I still love my mother. She's a sweetheart, although she's struggling. Like I said, she's 98. She has dementia. I've been lucky. Every time I go home, she remembers me. Last time I was home, she remembered me every time I went in, but a couple of times she didn't remember I was there the day before. Now, my sisters, who she lived with my sister Ruth Ann and my sister Alta for quite a while, actually. They were visiting her, and my mom was having an episode, and somebody came in, and my mom couldn't remember who my sisters were. And so she just introduced them, not as her daughters, which, she could remember, these are my daughters, and not say the name. Hey, Ann, how you doing? And, hey, Anna G. But anyway, she introduced my sisters as her friends instead of her daughters. She couldn't remember that it was her daughters. That's what I said. Last year I did it. Actually, I enjoy the hotel room, but this year I don't think I'm going to. Now I'm doing one Saturday, but I'm going to be in a hotel room anyway because I'm traveling. I could do it in one day, but my sister can't. Not really. My sister has a curvature of the spine, So sitting in the car all day is not good for her. So we travel about halfway, stop, spend the night, and then travel the rest of the way the next day. This is the way she travels, whether she's with me or with her husband or by herself. She doesn't drive all the way. It's just too hard on her back. I started, like I said, I can do it one day, but unless I'm in a hurry, I'm not going to. I'm getting to the age where it's just not worth it. I used to, when I first moved out here to New York, I was living up in Batavia, which is halfway between Buffalo and Rochester. I used to work till midnight sometimes, get off at midnight and drive through the night and get there in the morning. And I would go to my mom's place and I would crash out for a few hours and get up. Hey, Pam, how you doing, Pamela? I would get out, crash out, and then run around the rest of the day after a few hours. And a lot of times I'd get off at 4 when I was working 8 to 4. And I'd drive all the way. And I had a key to the house. When I got there, my younger brother lived right next door to my mom. And he'd always be up. So I'd just stay with him. I'd get there after midnight. He'd still be awake. And I'd just go in there to his place and spend the night. And actually, the whole time I was home, I usually stayed with my brother back in those days. And like I said, I'd drive straight through. I'd stop and get gas and something to eat. Then I'd be back on the road. That's the only time I stopped. But I was a whole lot younger. And so I would do that. But now I'm because like I said, we're talking, oh God, we're talking 20, 26, 28 years ago. We're talking that long ago. So I was quite a bit younger. We're talking 96, 97, 98 in that time frame. But like I said, the older I get, the more breaks I want. I used to only stop, get gas, and go to the bathroom and grab a bite to eat and get back on the road. Now I'll stop, take a break, maybe grab a cup of coffee or something, and then get back on use the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, get back on the road. Then stop, get some gas, get something to eat, then get back on the road and get to the hotel. Now I stop 2 or 3 times, filling up the car and getting a bite to eat. Like I said, back in those days, I stopped once and did everything at one time and then went back on the road and kept going. But, I'm getting too old to do that stuff now. I have to take a little more break. I want to thank you all for coming. I was beginning to wonder what I was going to do. But I'm glad to see everybody made it. So Elvie sent you, huh, Ian? And we're glad you came, along with you, Pamela, and Tox, and Anna G, and everybody else. So glad everybody's here. Like I said, I got a stuffed up nose. It's that time of year. I have allergies. So it's starting to bother me. I have to take some medication for it. I hate taking it, but it's what clears it up. And a GX. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, we're just surprised that big Mac Daddy was here earlier, but he never made it back. He was up here on the channel for a while, but he had to go break up a cat fight. Hasn't made it back. So we'll see what's going on with him, baby. But, so yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to my trip next weekend. Like I said, my oldest sister's going to travel with me. So I'll have company this time. A lot of times I go back by myself. But that's all right. but it will be nice to have her with me. I don't get to see her as much as I'd like. Now, my oldest sister's 10 years older than I am, so if you think I'm old, just remember my oldest sister's older than I am. My oldest sister, when I was really young, took care of me a lot. She was my babysitter, especially between the time that I was born and my younger brother was born. She was probably more like a mother to me than my own mom, because my mom was going through a bout of depression because she had a miscarriage or two during that time frame. So I'm sure you ladies can relate, whether you had a miscarriage or not. I'm sure you can relate about how depressing that can be. So like I said, my oldest sister was pretty much in charge of taking us younger kids, which at that time there was 5 of us, counting her. So there was 4 younger than her that she kind of looked over. And still did with my younger brother and younger sister was born. She was still more of a mother figure than a sister sometimes. But mom did bounce back after my brother Gary was born, and was much more involved after that. Same thing with my sister. So like I said, yeah, I come from a large family, 7 kids. There was 4 girls and 3 boys. Now, 3 of my sisters are older than I am and 1's younger. I had an older brother and a younger brother. Like I said, they're both passed away. My father's passed. I'm the only boy still living. But all 4 of my sisters are still alive. And all of us are old enough that we're retired. We're all retired, yes. So, and my youngest sister is 63 years old. She retired from her full-time job at 55. She was a state employee, so she was able to retire at 55. She worked part-time after that until she hit 62, and then she quit working. She took her Social Security and she's done working. My sister Alta, which is the next to the youngest of the girls, she retired at 55 and hadn't worked since. She had a union job that you, at 55, if you had 20 years, you could retire. Well, at 55, she had 35 or 36 years. She had 36 years, and or just about 36 years. So she didn't have to work anymore to get her full retirement. She took that, and at 62, she took her Social Security. My sister Ruth Ann went on total disability in her 60s, early 60s. And so she's been retired on total disability. She has MS. And my sister Ruth Ann, Wanda, my oldest sister, she retired at 62. She was a school teacher. Her husband was a electrical engineer, and he retired at 58, I believe, or 59. So they've been both been retired for quite a while. So they've been enjoying it. They travel when they want. I shouldn't say when they want, but quite a bit more than a lot of people because their house is paid for. They, like I said, they have good retirements, so they're comfortable. They probably wouldn't mind traveling more than what they travel, but they travel quite a bit compared to other people that are retired. But you do what you do. You try to enjoy your life. I'm not going to be as well off as my sister Alta, or my sister Carla, or my sister Wanda, but I'll be better off than my sister Ruth Ann. And I'll have enough money that I'll be able to enjoy my retirement if I move to the Philippines. Here in the States, I'd have to watch my money a whole lot closer. If I wanted to live where I'm at right now, I'd have to either get government assistance if I retired or keep working. And I don't want to keep working forever, so that's another reason for wanting to move to the Philippines. The weather, because I hate winter. I hate ice and snow, even though I grew up with it. Uh, like I said, when I was in the Navy, my division I was on, my first ship was about almost 1/3 Filipino. So I worked with a lot of Filipinos, got to meet their families, all good people, and been to the Philippines. I enjoyed it. Gorgeous weather, gorgeous islands. So, like I said, I know it's going to be a lot different than when I was there because the peso was only it was about 9 pesos to $1. Peso was much stronger back then. So yeah, a beer was about one. I could go to a bar with a band and get a beer for like 1 peso and 50 centavos. Maybe 1 peso, depending on where you were going. I don't think I ever paid 2 pesos for a beer back then. Like I said, I was a San Miguel drinker, painted label. Either that or I would drink what they, now I don't know what y'all call it now, but back then they had a drink they called Mojo. Mojo was a mixed drink made with fruit punch and alcohol and beer. And yeah, I know, Tim. Like I said, it was a whole lot stronger back in those days. It was only about 9. You might got 10 pesos occasionally to $1. So a peso was about anywhere from 10 cents to 15 cents, depending on the time frame when I was there. So, like I said, a beer was about 15 cents to 20 cents when I was there. But closer to 15 cents for San Miguel. Now, I didn't drink American beer in the Philippines. I happen to like San Miguel. Now, in Japan, I drink American beer. Same thing in Taiwan. I would drink American beer. But not in the Philippines. I would drink the San Miguel. I liked it quite a bit. I always drink the painted label. It was stronger than the American beer, but it was really good. So I that's what I did. Most of the guys I know that I knew and that I ran around with was the same as I was. In Japan, we'd drink American beer. Same thing in Taiwan. In Hong Kong, we'd drink the local beer. I don't remember if it was English or Chinese. I'm not sure. But in the Philippines, almost all of us drink the local beer, which most of us drink San Miguel painted label. I don't know if anybody drink anything else besides that or American beer. Now, we did drink hard liquor. I would drink rum and Coke quite a bit if I didn't want a beer. But I was more of a beer drinker back in those days. And I drank quite a bit of beer back in those days. I hardly ever drink at all. I haven't had a drink in, at least a year, maybe 2 years. I'm trying to remember. The last time I had a beer, I was on my way back from Indiana. I was at the hotel I stay at in Erie, Pennsylvania, each time I come back. And I had a drink with my meal. But I was in the hotel. I never got in the car. Oh, they have them, Tim. It's San Miguel painted label. It's painted on there in white. It's all white. Look it up. You can probably do a Google search on it. The San Miguel painted label. And what the guys, now I didn't do this, but a lot of the guys when I was in, they would get a case of beer, and after they finished it, there was a glass cutter. I don't know where he was at because, like I said, I didn't do it. But they'd take that case of beer to the glass cutter, and he'd cut the top off, right where it would, become the surface would be flat going down. And 12 of those would be just a glass, like a mixed drink glass or whatever. And the other 12, they take the top and glue it to the bottom, and you have it like a wine goblet. And they take those back to the States as souvenirs. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. And I probably should have. I guess the top came off a lot of the wine goblets sometimes, but then you just had an extra glass. That wouldn't be so bad as long as they didn't break. But hey, Lorraine, how you doing? Sorry, I just noticed you. But so yeah, they used to do that in Subic Bay all the time. Now I don't know if they did that up in Clark, but in Subic they did it all the time. Like I said, I was on a tender, a destroyer tender. We had about 1,000 people on my ship, and so now I could on my last cruise, I could have brought alcohol back because I was 21. I just didn't ever bring any back. Now they used to have a drink in Japan they called anisette. Now anisette at the time was not illegal. They've since made it illegal in the military. But we used to call it absence. We called it absence because it was absence of feelings, absence of memory. It had a 10% liquid opium base. And like I said, it was legal to drink back then. You could buy it. And then I guess the Navy and the Marine Corps and all them figured out what was going on, and they made it illegal for servicemen to drink it. But I was over there, and I had, like I said, I was a big drinker back in those days. I really was. I had, I think, 6 beers and 3 shots of anisette, and I don't remember anything after that. And back in those days, I could remember everything that was going on if I had a 12-pack. That's all I had. I had perfect memory of what was going on. So, believe me, that was kicked my backside real hard. And that's why like I said, that's why we called it absence. Because it would throw you for a loop. It's just like, I don't know if you've ever had slow gin. And, man, that's pretty hot if it's 32 degrees Celsius, man. But slow gin has a tendency to sneak up behind you because you drink it, it doesn't taste like anything. It's like, wow, this is not bad. You don't even taste the alcohol. And you sit there, and I used to drink what they call a slow screw, which is slow gin and orange juice. And I was sitting there drinking that one time, and I'm thinking, this is nothing, man. Just toss it back. I got up to move around, and as soon as I did, that thing hit me right in the back, like kicked me in the back of the head almost, like, whoa. And I started stumbling around. I was like, man, that stuff's wicked. Because it hits you, because when you're not moving, it doesn't hit you. But as soon as you start moving, it hits you. Now, this is back when I was 20. And this is in San Diego. I found a place that would serve me. I knew quite a few places when I was 20 that would serve me. And because in California, 21 was the drinking age, but there was quite a few times I got served because just my goatee, I looked 25, 26 years old. So a lot of times I'd walk in, they would never card me because I looked plenty old enough. I shaved it off. I looked like a teenager. I mean, I looked like I was about 17 without my goatee, but with it, I looked like I was about 25. And so, yeah, so back in those days, I was pretty much a drunk. I wouldn't call myself an alcoholic, but I was a drunk. Like I said, the older I got, the less I drank. But when I was younger, I drank quite a bit. Like I said, now, very little. I got a bottle of wine in my refrigerator. It's been in there for almost a year, unopened. I don't know when I'll open it. It was a gift. I didn't buy it. Somebody gave it to me. And so eventually I'll open it up and have a drink or two. And if it's gone bad, I'll pour it out. I just won't tell them that's what I did. don't want to hurt their feelings. I mean, Yeah, Tim. In the Navy, Admiral Zumwalt put out a bunch of edits that we called Z-grams, and we were allowed to grow beards. We could have full beards, and we could have before Admiral Zumwalt. You couldn't have civilian clothes on ship. All right, so in San Diego there was a place called Seven Seas, which was a clothing store. But above Seven Seas, they had locker rooms with showers and everything. And what happened was a lot of sailors that were on ship would rent a locker by the month, and they'd keep their civilian clothes in the locker. So whenever they went into town, they had to wear the uniform. They got to town, they go up and change their uniform into civilian clothes and run around town. You couldn't have civvies on ship. And I believe that was the way it was with my brother, who only went in about 8 months before me. That's the way it was when he went in. And I want to say it was while I was in boot camp, all that changed. And so when I got out of boot, I grew my beard. I grew a full beard right after I got out of boot camp. I shouldn't say right after, shortly after. I don't think I started until after I went back. I kept clean shaven when I was home. And then I grew a beard, and I grew beards off and on my whole time in the Navy. There would be times I'd have a full beard, mustache, just a mustache and goatee. At one time, I had what you would call a Mormon beard, or Abe Lincoln, no mustache, just a beard. And I did that in protest. And the reason why I did it in protest, they changed the rules by saying your mustache and your beard had to connect, or you couldn't have it. Well, my beard and mustache connects, but it was like, I don't care. I'm going to shave the mustache off and just have the beard. And I did that for a few months, just out of protest. I mean, I was like, okay, they have to connect. What else? I just grow this. Hey, Dan's, how you doing? Welcome. Glad to see you come, and we're glad to have you raid from Elby. But one of my favorite pictures I had from my days in Subic Bay. I'm in one of the Western bars, country Western bars, with Stanley. I can't remember Stanley's last name. His first name was Stanley. And I want to say Joe, but I could be wrong. But Stanley was a married man who liked country music, and he'd only go out about once a payday to have a couple of drinks and do some dancing. He never cheated on his wife. I'll tell you that right now. He did not cheat on his wife. But there was one girl that he'd dance with, and when the night was over, he'd go back to the base, and she'd do whatever she did. But we always went to the same bar, and he knew I hadn't liked country music, so I'd go with him. And we're in this bar, and Joe had the picture taken. I want to say Joe was his first name. I knew two Stanleys. One was the first name of one guy, and the other was the last name of the other guy. I want to say this guy's Joe Stanley. I want to say his last name was Stanley. But anyway, he paid for the picture to be taken, and that was fine. So when we leave, he gives me the picture. He says, even though he never cheated on his wife, he didn't think anything about it. So he gave me a picture. And I had it for years, and then I lost it when I was at work one day. I don't know whatever happened to it. It was supposed to be where I put it, and I could not find it anywhere around there. And I have this big red goatee in the picture, and my arm is in a cast. I broke my wrist in Long Beach, California, about 2 months before I turned 21. Now, what happened was I got I have the green light. I'm crossing the street in Long Beach with the green light. And this car I see coming flying, and I turn around and look. Now he's got the red light. And I was drunk. I found a bar in Long Beach would serve me. So anyway, I turn around and I look at this car and I say, "You hit me, I'll never talk to you again." That son of a buck ran that red light, and he hit me. I had a bruise above and below both these. I had a cut where the hood ornament caught me on the stomach, cut my stomach open, and I broke my left wrist, a little bone behind my thumb and my left wrist. Now, the stomach cut was more painful than anything else because it just got all I got was fat. Even back then I was overweight, and that's all. And it only went about a half an inch wide, maybe a half inch deep, and about 2 inches long. Now a cop saw all this, but he's on foot, and he's away enough that he could see it, but he couldn't get the license plate of the car that hit me. And so they sent me to they sent me to the wrong hospital first, and I said something about somebody called my ship. Well, I wasn't dying, so they wouldn't look at me because there's a Navy hospital. So they called an ambulance, a Navy ambulance, and sent me to the Navy hospital. So I'm in there, and they take an X-ray of my wrist and don't see anything wrong because it's just a real small little bone behind the thumb. And so they gave me a brace. And so I'm in Hawaii, and I try to do a push-up. Well, I couldn't bend my wrist. I couldn't bend my wrist any more than that. I couldn't go all the way up. I couldn't go like that. I could only bend about that far. And I couldn't do so many push-ups. So I just did a fist and did my push-ups on my fist and won the bet. Then I went to the sick bay. And so I go up to sick bay and I tell the doctor what's going on. And he says, "All right, bend your wrist as far as you can." I did. He said, "Now try not to let me push it down." But he couldn't push it down. And then he checked a couple other things. And so he said, "Well, let's do an x-ray." And he twisted my arm around, the hand around enough that he was able to see which bone it was a hairline crack. So he says, "Well, you're going to have to wear a cast." He says, "Put your hand in the position you want." And I said, "Oh, that looks about right. Yeah, that'll hold a beer." That's how I picked a position to put my hand in. I had to hold a drink. So they put the cast on. When they first put it on, the corpsman was going to put the cast on clear up to here. Now, this is where the problem's at, not up here. He says, no. He says, "Put it about here." He says, "You don't need to take it above his elbow. That's not what you just need to immobilize that thumb and wrist." So I was just had the cast on for a couple of weeks when that picture was taken. And I had to wear it for 6 weeks. So I had it on for maybe 2 to 4 weeks. It hadn't been 6 weeks yet. But yeah, it was something else. Like I said, that was my second Westpac. And my third time in the Philippines. But the first time in the Philippines, I was only there for a couple hours, didn't get off the ship. The second time, I was there for about a week or so, and I didn't have the cast on. It was after my first time in the Philippines, that trip, that Westpac, that came down with the problems. So then got the brace put on. The cast put on. When I went back, I was in the Philippines for about a week, left there, went to Okinawa, and came back to the Philippines for almost 3 months. And so we got there in, I want to say, August the first time. And then we came back in September. We didn't leave till December. Might have been late. No, it might have been in November. But we were there like September, October. Yeah, it was in November. Then from there we went to Taiwan. So, but yeah, that was quite a while ago. it was something else. And I'll never forget that night where I don't remember the car hitting me. Yeah, it's not much fun breaking your wrist. But like I said, they just told me to put my hand in a position I wanted to keep it at for about 6 weeks or more. And I went like that. And I looked at it and said, that'll hold a beer because I can move the fingertips. I couldn't move the thumb at all. They only took it up to about here on the fingers, right about in here. So I can move the fingertips. So I could tighten, I could set the glass in there and tighten the fingers down and hold it against the thumb because the thumb was immobile. It was the thumb and wrist they did not want moving. And so, yeah, I did that. And one of the things, the biggest waste of my time back in those days, I was a smoker. I smoked cigarettes. I smoked about a pack and a half to 2 packs a day for an average of, I did over a pack a day for over 27 years. And I have now been off cigarettes for over 25, almost 25 and a half years. The hardest thing I ever did was quit smoking. And the best thing I ever did was quit smoking. So, yeah, well, I was a smoker and a drinker back in those days. I quit smoking before I quit drinking, though. But I think quitting smoking helped me quit drinking a little bit because I didn't want to go in the bars as much because that's when I was most tempted to have a cigarette, is when I was drinking. And I'm not going back to smoking. It took me too long and too many times to quit. And like I said, I dreamt about cigarettes for almost a year after I quit. And I'm not going through that again. No, I'm done with cigarettes. So, but yeah, this September will be 25 and a half years. I quit in March of 1999. And the same year, hey, Dodger Blue. Now, is this the same Dodger Blue that I used to know? Or is this a different Dodger Blue? Now, we used to have a Dodger Blue that used to come in here before. He lives out in California. Is this the same Dodger Blue? Because it was just Dodger Blue back then. I don't remember the number. Met Dodger Blue and Chris. All right, Dodger Blue. It's been a long time since you've been here, man. You still out in California? And how's your wife doing? See, now in California, it's 7 o'clock in the evening, a little after. Well, now, Dodger, you want to talk about ugly? Just look at this mug. You know? Although by shaving off the chin whiskers, I probably look younger than I did. And even with the chin whiskers, a lot of people guess me younger than what I am. But so, Dodgers, really, are you still in California, or and how's your wife doing? uh, Remember, Dodger, happy life. Uh, so, how's your health holding up, man? I know you did go through something that you got better, but are you still doing? Are you still doing well? But now my younger brother used to drive the auction cars. A bunch of them would drive cars somewhere else, and somebody else would drive a van. And when they got the cars where they got in the van, they would drive them back. He did that. Now, I don't think he did it for a year, but he did it for a while. A friend got him into it. My younger brother did a lot of different jobs. He was a truck driver for a while, and he did that for a few years. When he was on what he called the circuit, he loved it. Now, what would happen is they'd have to go to Ohio to pick up a load. Well, that was just enough for one driver. Now, my brother drove teams, and the guy he drove with owned the truck. And so they were both from Terre Haute. So Gary would stay home. The guy would drive over to Ohio, come back, and then they'd spend another night. They'd both spend another night in Terre Haute. Then they'd leave the next day and drive to California, drop off that load, pick up another load, and go back to Ohio. Well, they'd go right through Terre Haute. They get to Terre Haute, they'd stop. They'd both go out that night. The next day, Kevin, who owned the truck, would drive over to Ohio. Gary would stay that day and run around with his friends. Kevin come back that night, and then they'd run around together. And the next day, they'd take off again. Kevin and Gary went to school together, high school, and Gary wasn't working when Kevin started driving semis. Hey, ABCM, welcome. And Kevin was driving for, what was it? Was it Atlas Moving Van? Yeah, I think it was Atlas Moving Van Lines, not Mayflower. He drove for Atlas Moving Van Lines. And he had to, driving for that, he had to help load and unload the trucks. So Gary wasn't working at the time at this one time, and Kevin asked Gary if he wanted a job helping him load and unload the trucks, and he'd teach him how to do the books. So Gary started doing that. And ZP, how you doing? We appreciate you coming, ZP. And anybody that wants to, just type in LLL, and your YouTube channel will be dropped, your link to it. So Gary started doing that, helping him load and unload the trucks and doing the books for him. And I don't know what he got paid. It wasn't a whole lot, but he got paid. And a little bit later on, he taught my brother how to drive. Gary got his driver's license. That's when they started driving as a team. And a lot of you may not know, but as a team, you can drive almost 24 hours. You both can drive 20 hours, but you have to take breaks every so often. So between the two of you, your truck is only stopped for maybe 4 hours, but at that time you're getting a bite to eat, going to the bathroom, filling the truck up, and that kind of stuff. And when you're not driving and your truck's moving, you're in the back sleeping. At least that's where you're supposed to be. And so, that's how teams do it. So they go a lot faster cross country than a single driver. I'm sorry to hear that, Tim, but hopefully it doesn't last too long when you get into bed. But so he drove cross country until they lost that circuit, and he was still driving cross country with Kevin, but they'd get somewhere and they'd be stuck for a couple of days. And Gary absolutely hated that. So he came off the road, quit driving. He hated getting stuck somewhere for a day or two and nothing to do. But, to each their own. I don't blame him for not wanting to sit around doing nothing, because you're not getting paid sitting around doing nothing. So, hey, Ann, how you doing? Welcome. So, we, my driving trucks was what my father did as well. Now, he didn't drive a moving van line, that's how he drove trucks, and he was helping either load or unload one of the loads he was hauling. And led to something wrong, and he was done working at 47 years old, never worked again the rest of his life. He went from 258 pounds. Now, my dad was about 6'3", maybe 6'4", somewhere in there. My dad was a tall man. And he went from 258 pounds down to 150 in 3 months. And I don't think he ever got over 170 pounds after that. Because he couldn't, I don't know if he even got over 150. Yeah, Dodger, I'm still working security. Matter of fact, right now I'm working at a construction site. And my mom has got dementia now. She's had it for a while, but she was able to hide it for a long time. Hey, Abby. And so we had to finally put her in a nursing home a couple years ago because she was starting to fall way too much. And the two sisters she was living with, well, one sister's got MS, and the other one makes me look like I'm in good health. All right. Now, they're both older than I am. But helping my mom up off the floor, neither one of them could do it. And she was starting to fall too much. And she got the last when I was home, and she was still living with my sisters. She fell and got hurt real bad. So we had to put her in the hospital. And my four sisters and I made the decision at that time that she had to go in the nursing home because she was just falling way too much, and my two sisters could not take care of her. My other sister couldn't do it. She had things she had to do. She had a daughter and a granddaughter she had to help when she could, plus her husband, and plus she was working still. And my mom needed somebody with her 24/7. And like I said, my two sisters that were retired, neither one was in good enough shape or health to take care of. So it was a hard choice, but we had to do it for my mom's and my sisters. So that's where she's at. That's why she's in her nursing home. Like I said, I've been lucky every time I've gone home. She's recognized me. So far, like I said, I go in every day I'm home. I go in and see my mom. Now, she remembers me every day, but sometimes she won't remember I was there the day before. And so that's something, a little tough to deal with. Hey, girlie. And Beth, welcome. But, so yeah, it's tough when I go home. But like I said, I've been fortunate enough. Like I said, I've said this earlier, but some of you are new here. Dodger wasn't here when I said it. My sisters that she lived with, Ruth Ann and Alta, haven't been so fortunate. They were visiting her one time. Now remember, these are the sisters, my sisters she lived with for years. And my sisters are in there at the nursing home visiting her. As an orderly or nurse or something came in, and my mother looked at her and said, "I like you. These are my two friends." She couldn't even say these are my two of my daughters. These are my friends. She couldn't remember they were her daughters. She's called my niece, Amanda Carla, which is my sister, her mother, Amanda's mother. So she's got her name wrong. So as far as I know, she's never asked for my father, but she might have, but no one's told me about it. My father's been gone since 1980. So was it 80 or 81? I want to say 80. And so he's been gone a long time. But so yeah, it's kind of tough sometimes. It depends on how she's doing. She sleeps a lot, so I don't stay real long because I'll stay and talk with her, and all of a sudden she'll fall asleep. I'll sit there for a little bit after that to see if she wakes up, but if she doesn't, then I go ahead and leave. But you can't call her anymore. She won't answer the phone or doesn't hear the phone or something. So I can't talk to her like I used to. I have to call my sisters and ask them how she's doing. I used to be able to call and talk to her once in a while. So yeah, it's tough, but God bless her, she's still around. She's 98. So, and as long as I have my health, I want to be around. At 92, she was still quite healthy. She did have the dementia, but nothing like it is now. She was able to hide it. It wasn't so much that she forgot people as she forgot things back then. Now, her dad lived to be 92. Her grandfather, who I'm named after, her dad's dad, he lived to be 92. Her older brother lived to be 92. Sharp as a tack until he was about a month before he died. Grandpa and great grandpa both were in good shape until shortly before the day. Hey, Mengay! And now she had an uncle on her mom's side, my great uncle or great great uncle, I can't remember which. I think it was her great uncle, which would make him my great great uncle Orange. Yeah, his name was Orange, like the color. He lived to be about 97, 98, and he was sharp as a tack until the last few years of his life. That was on her mother's side. So on my mom's side of the family, there's a lot of longevity. Not so much on my dad's, but they've pretty much all lived into their 60s or 70s, even on that side of the family. My dad was one of the younger ones. And that passed. He was 61. And so, yeah, been a while. Been a minute or two, I guess, as the old saying goes. But, yeah, so, like I said, I've outlived all my brothers and my dad. Now, if I had my health, I'd like to outlive my mother, but I want my health. I don't want to be in the shape of my mother. But the good Lord will make that decision, not I. Like my mom keeps saying she doesn't want to live to be 100. And we keep telling her, well, Mom, it's up to the good Lord. When he calls you home, he'll call you home. But I pray when she goes, that she goes peacefully. At the time of the good Lord's calling. I'm not praying to go early. I'm not praying her to go late. Just that when the good Lord takes her home, I pray to the good Lord that when it's time for her to go home to be with him, that she goes peacefully. That's the only thing I can pray for. That it's peaceful. Hopefully it'll be in her sleep. And so like when I go home this time, I'll go home with a suit. Well, dress pants and a dress jacket, shirt and tie. I may not wear it, but it's going to be with me. Because you never know. Hey, RD, man, welcome. How you doing, RD? We appreciate you coming over from Elvie. We got people coming from ABC's channel and Elvie's channel. So we appreciate all that. And we're glad to have you guys here. And anybody that wants to come up is more than welcome to come up. I've been talking most of the time by myself. The 2.5 hours almost that I've been on here. Not quite, but almost 2.5 hours. Over 2 hours of it probably was by myself. And you know me, I like having somebody to talk to. But I can carry on a conversation. But like I said, I do look forward to going to the Philippines. But like I said, it's going to be a 1.5 to 2 years before I can really go anyway. I want more than enough money to cover like emergencies. And when I talk about emergencies, I mean medical for myself. I want enough money that I don't have to say, well, I land here, this is where I got to stay. I want to be able to, like I said, my plan right now is to go to Cebu, settle in there for a couple months, because I know when I first get there, it's going to be love. I'm going to love it. It's just that simple. The euphoria of being there will last a month to 2 months by itself. Then I'll decide if Cebu's too large for me or not. Yeah. Well, you work my job. It can be boring. I Like I said, I'm working at this construction site. They're building these platforms for ocean windmills. They build them up here in New York at the Port of Coleman's. They ship them down the Hudson to the Atlantic and New Jersey, and then wherever they're going from there, they go from there. It's a New Jersey outfit that's doing this, but they're doing it up here. And the way it looks, it will probably last long enough for me to retire at this site. I'm hoping it does. I really don't want to change sites again. It pays decent. I was making more money than this when I was at Amazon, but I was a boss at Amazon. Here I'm just one. There's only two people, me and the guy that works my day off. We're closed down on weekends. I work 4 10s. The other guy works a 10 where I'm at, and he works a day or two somewhere else. That would be cool if I had my health, Dodger. 158, 159. Yeah, I'd take that. 160. If I have my health. Like I said, I want my health. But so it's kind of interesting site. I have to wear a hard hat, and one of my videos is I show a sombrero. They call it a hard hat sombrero. It's a part that you put over your hard hat, and it gives you this big wide brim with a thing that hangs down the back to protect your neck from the sun. Well, as a lot of you know, my dad had skin cancer in the back of his neck. Now, that's not what killed him, but he had that and had to have it removed. My younger brother, from what I've been told, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said he had skin cancer on the inside of his body, and that's what killed him. I know it was cancer, but I won't guarantee it was skin cancer. That's just what I heard. I never asked him. I didn't talk to him about that. I just talked to him, and we spent time together. Whenever I went home, I went home more back then because I knew he was dying, and I wanted to spend as much time as I could with him. So I did that. And I don't know about you all, but every time I talk to my sisters and my brother, I would mention when I hang up that I love them, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I found that out with my dad. I knew my dad was very sick. Matter of fact, when last time he was in the hospital, we didn't think he'd make it out, which he didn't. So it's like every time you talk to somebody you love, when you go to leave, you got to tell them you love them, because you don't want to not tell them, and then they pass away, and you think, I wish I'd have told them. And so, like, my brother Jim, I didn't get to tell him as much as I'd like. He was only 37 when he passed away. He was very young. And he died from cancer. And totally different type of cancer. I went through that earlier, so I won't do it again. Don't want to bore anybody with that. And it's not hereditary, the cancer my brother had. Tim, like I said, I would like to be, I want to live as long as I have my health. I don't care how old that is. As long as I can take care of myself. Yeah, he had intestinal issues. It was cancerous. That's what he had. They pulled a bowel out of place, which controls your bathroom movement, and that's what caused him internal stress. He went in the year before he died. He was in the hospital, had an ileostomy and a colostomy. They thought they got everything, from my understanding, but he died the next year. He turned 60 and 61 both in the hospital. 60 was when he had the operation, and 61 he went back in. They came back from Texas in April of 1980, and he ended up going to the hospital after he got back. I don't think it was right after, but shortly after he got back, because he wasn't feeling well. And in May he passed away. Hey Annie, how you doing, Crystal? He was about not quite 2 weeks after his birthday, after he turned 61. And we didn't have an autopsy done because we didn't want to my mom didn't want to go through that. She just figured it was cancer, so I couldn't tell if it was cancer or something else. But the way he felt, the way he looked, I mean, you could tell when he was sleeping he was in pain. When I walked into his hospital room and he had passed away before I walked in, nobody had to tell me he died. I could tell by looking at him because he was not in pain. He looked very peaceful. And every time I saw him before that, you could tell he was in pain. So when I walked in, the pain was gone. I knew he was gone. So yeah, it made me real sad. But see now, Dodger, his colonoscopy was so bad. I mean, his colon was so bad they couldn't do a resection. They had to take it out and put a bag on his side. They had to do an ileostomy and colostomy both, but his was in real bad shape. And yeah, he was in constant pain. Constant pain. Like I said, even sleeping, you could see the pain on his face. So, like I said, when I walked in and he had passed away, nobody had to tell me he had passed. All I had to do was look at his face, and he was peaceful. You could tell he was no longer in pain. Now, made me want to cry. Still makes me want to cry. But I knew for him, he was better off. You hate saying that because you love your father, you love your mother, but he was in a better place because that pain wasn't going away. And like I said, he was in constant pain towards the end, and it's just not something you want someone you love to go through. And at least not something, it's just like when my brother died, Jim. I cried like a baby, and Jim was in pain, but it just I cried for my brother Gary. But Jim was only 37 years old. And so that was, very tough. That was real tough on me. Because we knew, now I knew Gary was dying for 6 months or longer before he died. Jim, I knew less than 6 weeks. We did not know Jim was dying until less than 6 weeks before he died. So you didn't have as much time to come to grips, the reality that you were going to lose a loved one. You go through that. There's that adjustment period when you find out that, yeah. I'll probably cry when my mom dies, but I cried when my dad died. I cried when both my brothers died. My older brother more than my dad or my younger brother because I knew they were dying a lot longer. So it gave me time to come to grips, to come to the reality of it. My older brother, I knew less than, like I said, I knew less than 6 weeks. I mean, they could have said when they said 6 months, because they don't like to say less than 6 months. When they told us he had less than, 6 months at the most, they could have said 6 days and they would have been a whole lot closer. I don't even think it was 6 weeks. I don't even think it was a month. If I remember right, it was not very long after we found out that he had cancer and was dying. Now we knew he had been sick for about a week or two before that. We knew that. We put him in the hospital, and at first they were saying, "Oh, it's just a brain tumor. We can operate and take that out. We're going to send him to Indianapolis." And when they got there, they said, "No, this is cancerous. It's too far. We can't do a thing." And he was still in Indianapolis when he died. So I mean, it was only like a couple of weeks after we put him in the hospital, he was gone. So it was very hard, on me. Some other people might not be as hard on them, but it was very hard on me to lose my brother that quickly at that age. And a friend of mine's daughter likes to be when her grandfather died. I was at the funeral. Her grandfather, they're Chinese, and my friend's daughter calls me Uncle Larry. And her grandfather considered me to be like a son, his white son. I've known him. I knew him for 30 years before he died, and we used to run all over Terre Haute together. I'd go pick him up from his daughter's apartment or house, depending on where she was living. She lived in both. When she was at school, I'd pick him up and we'd run all over town. I'd be off because I worked evenings, and I'd go by and pick him up and we'd run all over town and do things together. And so we're at the funeral home and she's crying and she looks at me and she goes, "Uncle Larry, I don't cry." And I said, "You don't cry for yourself, but you're crying because you lost a loved one. So there's nothing wrong with crying for a loved one." That's fine, ABC. I'm glad you're here. We appreciate it. But like I said, I'm with you. There's nothing wrong with crying for somebody you love. And that's what I told her. And I just let her know, hey, look, you're not crying for yourself. You're crying for your love. You're crying because you're going to miss them. You're not crying because you're hurting. You're crying because they're gone. And you can't tell them how you love them anymore. You can't spend time with them because she loved her grandfather more than she loved her mom or dad or grandmother. Her grandfather was the one she loved the most. I was very sad to lose him too, but like I said, it's sad to lose a friend. He was a friend. He was a good friend. And it's going to be tough when I go back home because my friend that I've had for over 55 years passed away this last month. I've known this kid since 65. So that's almost 60 years we've known each other. And so now 65, 66, somewhere in there is when we first met. I want to say 65, the summer of 65. We met at the swimming pool it was in the park that was across the street from where I lived. And we became fast friends. He was like another brother to me when I was growing up. He was like the brother that belonged between myself and my younger brother. And his family and my family got along great. If we were going out of town, I could call his mom up and tell him, hey, look, we're going out. We'll be back such and such. Dave's going with us. She goes, your parents going? Yeah. She goes, fine, have fun. As long as my parents was going, she didn't care. She trusted my parents to take care of her son. So my parents trusted his parents to take care of me. So I could call up and say, I'm staying at Dave's tonight. And they said, fine, have a good one. And same thing with Dave. He could stay at our place. We'd go out of town quite a few times. Call up, hey, look, we're going down to Springville State Park. Dave's going with us. Or, hey, look, we're going up to Lafayette, Indiana. Dave's going with us, you know. And her mom or dad would just say, yeah, have a good time. See you when you get back. Because they knew we weren't going to be overnight, and they trusted my parents to take care of their son. And my parents were the same way with them. Trusted them to take care of me or my brother Gary. So like I said, it's a very good friend. Dodger, I hate winter. I'm never ready for winter. I hate winter. I hate the ice and snow. Now, if I had the same situation as my oldest sister and her husband, they're both retired. If they don't want to go out in it, they don't have to. They know a winter storm's coming. They go buy whatever they need, and they can hunker down for whatever. And they would just take, they didn't have to drive it. They didn't have to shovel it. Now, he has a snow blower, so when he wants to clean the driveway, he can go out and clean it. I don't like driving in snow. I don't like walking in snow. I don't like shoveling snow. I don't like cleaning the snow off my car. There's nothing about snow I like. The only good thing, all right, I'll take that back. If you look at a freshly fallen snow, no footprints, no anything, it is pretty. That's it. Outside of that, you can keep snow. Dodger, Tim was back in Canada, in Vancouver area, visiting with his sister. Just got back to the Philippines from there. Yeah. No. Now, Tim, I'm not doing the Snow Angels, Dodger Blue. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't be able to get back up. I have a hard time getting up off the floor if I lay down on the floor. Part of that is I have arthritis in both knees. I have arthritis in my hands. And so it's a little tough getting up because of that. Now, if I'm going to lay down, I want a couch or a chair or something that I can grab a hold of to help myself get up. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you coming. We're glad to have you here. But yeah, so I haven't been home 10 hours yet, huh? And it's still morning over there. And you're tired. I understand that. But yeah. Yeah, he's still got jet lag there, Dodger. He's still on Canadian time. Like I said, I know when I went to China, I didn't have trouble adjusting. The trouble is when I came back to the States. Well, that's what I think Tim's going through. It was no trouble probably going to Canada, but when he came back, see, because it's the coming back to where you've been at for years that I think is when the jet lag really kicks in. And at least that's what it did for me. I'm hoping it does the same thing when I go to the Philippines. In other words, one day and I'm ready to go. That's the way it was when I went to China. Even the first day I was able to get around and do things, but I slept well that night, got up the next day, and I didn't have any problems till I came back home to the States. So I'm hoping It'll be the same thing when I go over. I'll adjust real well, and if I have troubles, if I go back to the States. I'm hoping it's the same thing. Can't guarantee it, but that is my hope. Like I said, I know for a fact when I first go over and I land in Cebu, I am going to love every minute of it for the first couple of months. Even though the Cebu may be larger than what I will really like later, I will love it at first. Hello, wrestling fan. How you doing? You look cold. We'll give you a blue jacket, wrestling fan. Glad to have you. Now, wrestling fan, if you want to advertise your channel, just type in LLL. That's all you got to type, and it will drop your channel link for you. And you're welcome. You're welcome to be here and join in on the chat, or you're welcome to be in the background, or if you want, come on up and we'll talk. I'm easy going. I try to have fun. That's what I preach to others. Oh, remember to always try to have fun. That's what we need to do. We need to be kind to each other, and I preach that as well. There you go, Tim. Tim will show you how it's done. That's all you got to do. There can be small L's or it can be capital L's. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to my vacation next week. Like I said, see, Tim, you got more subscribers than I do. That's small time. I don't even have 900 subscribers. But that's all right. I do it for fun. Got almost 3 hours sleep today, huh? That's cool. But like I said, I really am looking forward to going home. I hadn't been home since, what was it, late October, early November last year. It was in October, in part of October, first part of November. And I was hoping to get the color last year, but by the time I got there, the color was gone. Almost all the leaves were gone. It really wasn't very good color. Those covered bridges would have been a lot better, I think, if the leaves had been in bloom. The fall colors in bloom. But that's all right. You take the good with the bad. And I didn't want to go back this time this year, so maybe next year I'll go back again in the fall. You'll enjoy Tim's channel there, Dodger. He's got a lot of, especially if you're interested in the Philippines, he's got a lot of interesting things. Now, the person talking is not Tim. That's your driver, right, Tim? Your driver does the talking? Tim does a video and writes up what's going to be said, but his driver is the one that does the talking. But it is good. And he does shorts and videos both. And if you make a comment, he will answer. So, Vince, how you doing, Packet? How you doing, Vince? Thank you for coming. He is, Dodger. You'll enjoy his channel, I think. And Vince has got a good channel. So does Tox. So does ABCM, LV. They all have good channels. And Dan's not here, but he's got a really good channel. Narrator is your editor, but isn't he also your driver? But so yeah, it's good to have Mints here. We appreciate that, Mints. We really do. It's because of people like you, ABCM and Elvie, Tox, and a few others that have really helped my channel. I appreciate that. Dan's helped it quite a bit. Pinky Gray's done a lot of good for me, if you know who Pinky Gray is. Okay, I was thinking it was the same person. Hey, Jared Aroma, how you doing? There you go, Jared Aroma. You look like you're cold, so we'll give you a blue jacket there, buddy. Hey, Shalon. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. But everybody, just to let you know, if you type in LLL, my Nightbot will drop your link for you. And we appreciate you coming. There you go, miss. Like I said, you can type it in. It's capital letters or small letters. It doesn't matter. Just 3 L's. And matter of fact, you can do capital, small, capital, or small, capital, small. Doesn't matter as long as it's 3 L's. We made it as simple as possible. Jerry Swin, give me a minute. There you go. We'll give you a blue jacket. We don't want you to be cold. If you type in 3 L's and it will let you drop your channel link. I try to make it easy on people. We really appreciate you coming. I don't know how long I'm going to go. ABCM is another great supporter of mine. We're glad to see her come in. Yes, I know who you are. You visited my channel before. Now, usually, as long as somebody doesn't seem like they're going to be rude, they get a blue jacket. I just don't want anybody to be cold. I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to slight them. But I do make it as easy as possible. So, like, John Mark, how you doing? We'll give you a blue jacket, John Mark. Oh, wow. I've been misspelling your name. I've been spelling it as regular John, J-U. I'll get that straightened out. But we want to welcome you all here. We are very appreciative that you came. Yeah, Tim, that's the way I've been spelling his name, but it looks like it's Jonh. We're glad y'all supporting us. We appreciate that. And those is finally starting to clear up a little bit. But so we've been going for almost 3 hours, not quite. Yeah. We're glad. Percy, how you doing, Percy? A long time since you've been in the channel. Thank you for coming. Like I said, Elvie's another one that. Now, when I turned 70, Elvie's the one that ran the games for me when I had my giveaway. Now, I'm going to let you all know right now, when I hit 1,000 and I stay above it for a couple of weeks, I will probably have another giveaway just to celebrate. Hey, Tim, don't feel bad. He's been in my, he's commented on a few of my videos, and I spelled it John. That's my fault. I just now noticed it. So I will correct that the next time I answer one of his comments on one of my videos. And we'll get that straightened out. But I don't know how if it's pronounced as John or Joan. Maybe it's John H. Mark. Because some people spell John Jon. And so I'm not sure, but that's okay. And that's okay, Tim, because I'm sure he knows you didn't do it maliciously, because I've done the same thing and have been doing the same thing all this time. I will straighten that out. Like I said, I noticed it. I just never really looked at it that close. I always said John Mark, and I spelled it John, John. I have another John that comes into the and makes comments, and so we'll have to straighten that up. We'll get that straightened out. But I am real happy that a lot of you came in. I'm glad you got here. Well, we appreciate you coming, Dodger. Now remember, I will be on again next week. It'll be at 5:00 p.m. Saturday in California. And I'll be on for who knows how long. And you're more than welcome to come in and just be in the chat and hang out. Or you're more than welcome to come up and talk if you want. I enjoy having visitors in my channel. I enjoy having them come up and talk with me. I think you know that. You've been here before. I used to have I used to have 2 or 3 people up here quite a bit. But here recently it's been 1 or 2, and that's about it. That's all right. We'll do what we got to do, and we'll get things taken care of. It's getting close to time to shut this down. I don't want to push it too long. Like I said, I've been going for 3 hours. Now, I have gone 5 hours. I think I even went almost 6 one time, but that's with Leonard. If y'all remember Leonard Lund. Leonard and I went 5 hours quite a few times. Just the 2 of us up talking. I miss Leonard. But anyway, folks, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down. I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to remind you now to be kind to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Plus, as always, try to have fun. Remember, you don't have to like each other, but please respect each other. Bye, everybody. Take care.